Hi, this is Paul Komkowski with the Systems Conference, and I'm here with my good friend Tiffany Rosenbaum. Me and Tiffany have been in a property management support group or a mastermind group, I don't know which way you want to call it, for many years together. We've been going to a lot of conferences together, and we just really worked on how we grow our business, grow alternate businesses. Tiffany is on the, I want to call it the board for the Systems Conference. She's one of the people that decides if me and Wolfgang are going in the right direction, or kind of like tells us they're one of the first people we get feedback from. So she will also be speaking. She's not only speaking on the main stage at the conference, she'll also be speaking in a small group setting. On the main stage, Tiffany, you're going to be talking about bigger is better. Now, can you explain that in a little better detail than bigger is better? What do you mean by bigger is better?
First of all, Paul, thank you for having me on. It's always a pleasure to talk with you. Because I love talking business, but also we go way back. We've been friends for a long time. The reason why I'm bringing bigger is better is because so long you've heard on stages and with people, oh, stay small, stay small. And in reality, a small company is so much harder to manage than a big company. Why do I say that? A small company, at some point, everything relies back on you, meaning if someone quits, you jump back in the position. If there's an issue with an owner, you have to deal with it. If it's a maintenance press at midnight, you're the one that's taking care of it. So I find 500 is about a roadblock for a lot of companies where they have to put money in to be able to grow past that, or they stay about that. When you get up to 600, 700, it's a lot easier to manage because you can have people in place to manage. And then all of a sudden you really, truly become a business owner and not just creating a job for yourself.
So are you saying, but there's a certain point, are you thinking that it's too big? Like when you get to 20,000, 30,000, are you thinking if you grow the right way and you don't grow in 2 seconds, you can be any size?
Yes, because it all comes down to the processes, procedures, the people that you would hire, and the people that you have on your team, players. I love my team. My team is everything to me. And so often I hear at conferences, oh, they can't do it right. Oh, I have the wrong team in place. And I think that's completely the wrong mindset. A business is a living, breathing organism, and it should give life commitment and not just one. And I truly believe that the bigger you get, the only difference is processes and procedures, but you can get as big as you want, and it's easier to manage because of the people you have in place. Like, for instance, when you get to a certain size, then you have the CEO, COO, all these different things that manage the company. And then it doesn't all rely on you. You just look at the books. All of a sudden, you really, truly become just an owner instead of a business operator.
Do you think someday there's going to be a property management company like the size of Zillow where no, I know there'd be a Blackstone and we have those that are kind of institutionalized and they do their own thing. But do you think there's going to be a property management company like, I forget the one that was out of Minnesota that was started as a franchise, then they kind of bottled the franchises up and they were getting kind of big. Do you think getting bigger and then going strategically from one market to the next and maybe being the biggest in Arizona and then maybe taking Nevada? Or do you think you should go 50 states wide?
So I think you have to be a certain size in each state. You can't just go, hey, let me have 2 properties in either state. It doesn't work because you need a certain number of properties to be able to have a higher property manager. Like, for instance, I'm closing on a deal literally this week in another state. So, but I want to make sure there's boots on the ground, there's enough manpower, and the properties can run by themselves without me having to be there. So you have to have a certain amount. I say, will there be a company the size of Zillow in property management? There are companies already trying to do that. Do I think it will actually happen? No. The reason why is there's always going to be companies like me or other companies that are investors plus help other people. I don't think you're going to have a Zillow property management company. Could be wrong. Don't call me on that. Because Greystar is huge. You have big institutions. So it could happen. Anything's possible. And you have the franchise model that multiple companies are doing, and they're doing really well at it. But I think you're going to always have the smaller operators.
See, coming from that, I sold my company and I worked for a big company. What I find is the bigger companies do well in states when they have a big presence in that state. When they have 200 doors, they're like a small company in that state. They have to have all the state regulations. They have to know all the things that do all the brokerage. They have to do all the paperwork, all the legal stuff. They can't do the process the exact same way because when you go to another state, let's say from New Mexico, you're going to have to do different things than you do in Arizona for some things because there's going to be laws and regulations. Sometimes in California, you can go county to county and have 6 different processes for 6 different counties because each one of them has different laws. So I think what I'm hearing from you is grow big, but grow smart.
Yes, 100%. I do find that when you roll up companies, also there's different ways to do it. When you roll up, you have more churn, so you need to look at that. When you buy a company and actually buy the company as an asset and you leave it there, then you don't have as much churn. But like you said, Paul, which I think is very important to understand, is you have to have a certain number of properties to make it truly work. And having a lawyer behind you that knows all the laws that you can actually rely on is so important. Because like you said, like even in Arizona, from city to city, you have different taxes, you have different laws, you have different things that you have to make sure you know about. So if you don't have enough properties, that's just chaos waiting to happen.
And your second to talk is something that me and you both love. I love my numbers, and we met in Vegas once, and we got our company KPIs, our company numbers. We put them out on a screen, and we shared everything we were doing KPIs. Remember that? We were in that big conference hall. There was 6 companies there, and it was really, and that was probably the 3rd or 4th year I had done that. So with other companies, and showing your numbers to another property manager who's not in your market, who you actually trust that they're not going to divulge your information, it's scary. I mean, in my opinion, it's because you really have to know your numbers, because we weren't nice about grilling people on their numbers, were we? We were very critical, very like, I mean, it wasn't like, oh, let's go and have rah fest. And so you're going to kind of do that, not to scare people that are going to be in a small group session, but you're going to show them your numbers, your KPIs. You're going to let them show you stuff, and you'll help them with that. But if they can get that next level, can you kind of explain how important it is to show your KPIs to other business owners? And I think you even do it with non-property owners now. You do it. You're in a roundtable with people that are not in a property management, I believe.
Yes, I do. I have my own board, which we're just restructuring it. I just hired another one, a board member. So we have 5 members on our board. If we're going to talk about one board first, and I open up all my books to all my companies, and they ridicule me on every quarter, and they tell me. I mean, I've even had one time I was sitting there, and they're like, "You need to shut this company down," and I had to go to bat why I shouldn't. They don't have equity in my company, but they're there to ridicule me, to go, "Hey, this isn't looking good. How do I fix this?" And when you can stand there and let someone tell you that you're not doing it correctly, that's how you truly improve. Like, that's how you really get better. And that's why it's so important. When you're at a conference like this, system conference, you should be opening up your books, talking to people, making sure, hey, what KPIs are you managing? And so one thing I'm big on KPIs is you show them on a daily basis. So I actually have an audit team in El Salvador, and they audit all our processes and all our numbers on a daily basis. And then they send out KPIs to our teams every morning at 7:30 a.m. And our teams know all their KPIs for the day before. That way they can actually improve. The problem is when we give KPIs on a weekly basis or a monthly basis, guess what? It's already too late for them to improve the prior week.
Monthly? Yearly. Most people do it yearly. Quarterly, and they're
Imagine that. Can't. It's stressful.
no. I'm telling you, I did it quarterly, and that was good. Like I knew my numbers, but like there was no way we were doing it on a daily basis. We were lucky to go, have quarterly reviews, go over the employees, and these were all things like whenever it falls on you, the business owner, it doesn't happen very well. I'm sure you don't go through the KPIs with each employee. You have people that go through their KPIs. You have people that review it. You probably go through it with like 3 people, and then they go through it with the other people. Is that correct?
Yeah, I only do it with the managers, and the managers, they do it with their team members. So now let me say something, because I say, hey, we do it on a daily basis. It looks all great. But when I got into business, I didn't even know what a KPI was. I'm going to be honest here. I didn't know what a KPI was. I didn't know what. I was just running the business. I was like walking through a maze with a blindfold trying to get to the other side. And then I went to a conference and they were talking KPIs, and it was like way over my head. So the reason why I want to talk about KPIs is I'm gonna let it unfold everything. That way you can really dive in and ask questions, because When I went to that first conference, I'm not gonna lie, I felt stupid. I really did. I was like, what are KPIs? How do you manage them? How do you find them? How do you even know what you're supposed to be managing? And so once I started managing them and measuring them, all of a sudden our company really started doing better. And then that's why I'm able to buy other companies now, because our core company has always done really well ever since we started to do that. And that's why we do daily, not weekly, not monthly, but daily audits and numbers to the entire team.
Remember, I'm going to tell a story with leaving names out about what we did. But there was a company that me and you were talking to, and his books were done 2 months in the rear because he had his wife doing them, and she was doing them 2 months late. And I think my comment to him was, you need to fire your wife today. And you showed your KPIs, and he listened to us and did it, and he's more than doubled his profit. I know for a fact that he listened, because I remember being us together, and I'm just like, you don't get your books done till 2 months after they're done. I'm like, you could have already lost 100,000. The corpse is already there. Like books wise, I knew my books like all the time, KPIs in books. But once you know your books, it's really easy to incorporate those as KPIs. You remember that? Do you remember that? And remember how successful that person was, who was very, very embarrassed at the beginning. But now, if I had him on this go, he would probably say it right away because he's so profitable.
Oh no, he's like, I remember that, and he is killing it. Like, literally killing it. I love when I get text messages or emails and I see what he's doing. I'm like, oh my goodness, this is like night and day. You should always be part of a little group, a mastermind or something, because this is what it does. And well, think about it. Walmart, you know how fast they know their numbers like this. They can literally see anything within a 30-minute span of what was bought, what was sold, what was brought in, how many people have come into their stores. Like, when you get to that level, then you can really turn the table and you can really improve. So we're on daily. I'm hoping to get on minutes, because I think you can improve even better in that.
But if someone goes your thing, I know that this person that we said doubled their income, I believe they're probably doing it monthly now, and it's still a big increase. Like, you want to be Walmart, you want to be Amazon, no seconds, you want to be up there, but just knowing it every month is a huge thing, because I would probably say 90% plus property managers don't know their numbers or their KPIs on a monthly basis. They might know them at the end of the year before they do their taxes, maybe. Even then, you're probably just looking at their P&L and they really don't know how many owners they have. Like, I've looked at multiple companies this year to buy, and I'm like, how many owners do you have? And they're like, somewhere around this. I'm like, well, no, really, how many owners do you have? And we're like, well, we got to audit that. Or how many doors do you have? Well, somewhere around here. You know, it's those little bitty things helping know where you're going. Like, how many leads do you get on a daily basis? Are you doing lead gen? And I didn't do it right at the beginning. I think it's a learning process, and that's what's so great about your conference call. Is because we're allowed to go and we're allowed to say, this is where I screwed up. How do we improve? You know, that's what I used to do at conferences. I remember when I first went to conferences, I was at that little sponge, like, how much can I take from you? Because I knew nothing. But that's how we improve. And so when people go to your conference, that's what they should be like. If they have any questions, it's ask. No question is stupid. That's what people need to realize. Well, and the thing is when you ask someone who's very experienced in property management and they have to explain how to do something, it actually helps them get better at their job. Like, you think, oh, I'm just asking stupid questions, but sometimes it's the newbies that pose something. You're like, I never thought of it that way. Like, they go, well, I don't get why it's this. And you're like, I don't get why that's it either. I got to go look that up. Why is it? So you learn from all levels. You learn from the people that have been in property management their whole life, to people that are just starting that are way technology savvier than us, to people that are not technology savvy, but, you know, everybody has skills. And, you know, that's the cool thing, and that's the fun thing. But I do like what you're talking about. I love talking KPIs. We talk about KPIs, but if you don't like KPIs, it'd still be good to go see Tiffany and see why she's doing it. I don't expect, if you're not doing KPIs, that you'll ever get to the daily thing. You might. You were probably struggling to get KPIs quarterly a while ago, weren't you? Like on a quarterly basis?
Building KPIs yearly, Paul. I was that person. I'm not gonna lie. I was that person. I was the person that came into business. I was on food storage. I had no money. I was just trying to make ends meet. That's how I started my business. And so when I started it, I was like, it's a business. We just kind of go, right? And then, we had no clue. Year in, we're like, what do we do? And then we realized, and we started going to more conferences, okay, we really actually need to learn and grow so we can do well at the business. And then we've did our board, and they're like, oh, you got to change a lot of things up. And so we just continue to learn. No matter where you're at, what's great, no matter where you're at in your journey, there's someone that's just starting. There's someone that's been there, and someone that's way above. And you're never the best, you're never the worst, and you just gotta realize we're all learning. And that's what we're here for, is to help each other. Because what you said, Paul, I love. It doesn't matter where you're at, we can all learn from each other. Because the person that's coming in and asking the questions, like you said, makes the person that's been here for 10 years go, I should have thought about it like that. But also the person that's been here for 10 years should be able to explain it in a way that's so well put, because they're supposed to be explaining it to their employees and their team members. So if they truly know what's going on, they should be more than willing to open up and talk about it.
So yeah, that is a great thing. One of the other thing we're doing, which is going to be really cool, on Friday, we are doing a breakfast. And what this breakfast is you're going to be putting your name down like, hey, I want a mastermind group. And we're going to try to set you up. It's going to be any time. It's not a breakfast that, this is breakfast for everybody. But we're going to have a vendor that goes there to help make sure you're organized. And you're going to be like, I want to get breakfast at 6 in the morning. I want to get breakfast at 9 in the morning. Whatever you're going to choose. We're going to try to get 6 or 7 people at the breakfast together, and then hopefully you'll be able to keep your mastermind when you leave, because that's the thing, is you're in multiple masterminds. I was in multiple masterminds. I always see these property managers like, I'm doing it on my own. Well, it helps if you can find a support group. Even if it's that support group that like you're doing on your own and someone needs a support group because someone screams and yells at them and tells them that they're going to beat them with a stick if you need someone to call, and you don't want to call your spouse because your spouse is then going to be worried that they're going to come to their house. And this is a true story, but it was actually a gun. They were going to come kill me. But it's really nice to have that support group that will be like, listen to you when you just need to rant. So we're also going to have that on Friday, because that's been a big help for you and your business and growing, correct? By having these groups that you work together with, you can count on.
Oh, yes. No matter what size you are, you have to continue to learn. No matter how long you've been in business, you have to continue to learn. The moment you stop learning was the moment you die. The business will stop growing if you don't continue to learn. Because let's think about this. Technology is changing so rapidly right now. If you're not continually trying to stay on the cutting edge, it's going to pass you up.
Well, that's why we're doing our newsletter with a technology tip. Every 2 weeks, we're giving a new technology tip in our newsletter. So I learned a whole new thing about Loom that I didn't know about blocking it out this last technology tip. So if you haven't signed up for it, sign up for it. But Tiffany, awesome. I'm looking so forward to having you at the event. You're on the board. We love having you there. You are a great speaker. You put your heart on your sleeve. You don't mind if people ask you personal questions. You don't mind telling people where you're struggling and where you're doing well. So it's always awesome to hear you speak. Looking forward to you being there.
I appreciate it. It's all about being real and raw. The moment we go to a conference and try to say we're better than everybody else, it's not true. Every entrepreneur that's in business is going through some type of struggling somewhere, whether it be team, numbers, or something. They're learning and growing. So it's all about being real and raw.
I agree. Everybody have a great week.